Here is what actually happens inside Stoic philosophy that they never show you. Everyone tells you Stoics were cold, detached, emotionless, and honestly, that reputation makes sense on the surface. Marcus Aurelius wrote about suppressing desire. Epictetus preached indifference to external things. Seneca literally told people to prepare for the death of everyone they love. So you read that and you think, these guys were robots. No wonder you feel like practicing Stoicism means building walls around yourself. No wonder you feel guilty every time. This is for you if you have ever felt like you care too much. You give everything to people and get nothing back. You walk away from conversations drained, frustrated, wondering why nobody seems to operate at your level of effort. Or maybe the opposite is true. Maybe you have been told you are too distant, too logical, too hard to reach. You try to keep your emotions under control because that is what you thought Stoicism taught you. And now the people closest to you say you feel like a stranger. Both of these are real. Both of these are painful. And both of them come from the same misunderstanding about what the Stoics actually believed about human connection. In 65 AD, Seneca wrote over 100 letters to his friend Lucilius. Not philosophical lectures, personal letters, about loneliness, about missing people, about the fear of losing someone you love. Does that sound like a man who felt nothing? The Stoics were not emotionless, they were precise, and that precision is what you are missing. Warning number 1. Confusing detachment with coldness will destroy your relationships quietly and completely. Here is what people get wrong. When Epictetus said, "Do not place your happiness in external things," they heard, "Do not care about people." But that is not what he said. He said, "Do not make your peace dependent on whether people behave the way you want." There is a massive difference. Think about the last time someone let you down, a friend canceled, a partner said something careless, a colleague took credit for your work. Your suffering in that moment was not caused by what they did. It was caused by your expectation that they would not do it. Epictetus was born a slave in 50 AD. He had every reason to be bitter about people. Instead, he taught this. You can love someone fully while accepting they are beyond your control. That is not coldness. That is the only version of love that does not eventually turn into resentment. The people who master this stop being victims of other people's behavior. They become unshakable, and ironically, people trust them more because of it. Warning number 2. Choosing who deserves your energy using Stoic logic alone will make you isolated without ever understanding why. Marcus Aurelius wrote something in his private journal. Remember, Meditations was never meant to be published. He wrote in Book 6, quote, "When you wake in the morning, tell yourself the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly," end quote. And people read that and think, yes, exactly, I knew it. Cut everyone off. But keep reading. Because in the very next line, he writes, "They are like this because they do not know the difference between good and evil." And then he says, "We are made for cooperation, like hands, like feet, like eyelids." He woke up every single day prepared for difficult people, and then chose to love them anyway. Not because they deserved it, because he understood that withdrawing your goodwill from others was a direct attack on your own nature. The warning is this. If you are using Stoic philosophy to justify cutting people out before giving them a real chance, you are not being wise. You are being afraid. And Stoicism has zero tolerance for fear dressed up as logic. Warning number 3. Treating relationships like investments, where you calculate what you receive versus what you give, is the fastest way to end up completely alone at the exact moment you need people most. Seneca warned about this specifically in Letter 9. He wrote about people who befriend others only when it is useful. He called this not friendship, but a business deal. And he said the moment the profit disappears, so does the relationship. Here is why this matters for you right now. Modern life has trained you to optimize everything. Your schedule, your diet, your productivity, and somewhere along the way you started optimizing your social circle, cutting low-value people, protecting your energy, building walls and calling it boundaries. Some of that is healthy, but Seneca's warning was about the internal posture. Are you showing up for people because you genuinely want them to flourish, or because you are tracking a mental ledger? The Stoics believed true friendship, what they called vera amicitia, required you to wish for someone's well-being even when there was nothing in it for you. That is not weakness. That is the highest form of personal power. Because a person who can give without need. So why does everyone get this so wrong? Why do people walk away from Stoicism thinking it means emotional shutdown? 3 reasons. First, the excerpts that go viral are always the hard ones. Prepare for loss, accept death, control only what you can. Nobody screenshots the letter where Seneca admits he wept when his friend died. Second, emotional control looks like emotional absence from the outside. When you stop reacting to every provocation, people assume you stopped feeling. That is not true. Marcus Aurelius dealt with 19 years of war, the death of multiple children, a wife he apparently struggled with, and a co-emperor who nearly destroyed Rome. He was not numb, he was trained. Third, and this is the one that really gets people, vulnerability feels dangerous. The idea that you should open yourself to someone fully, knowing you cannot control what they do with that openness, is terrifying. So people use Stoicism as a shield instead of a tool. But here is what the Stoics knew that most people never figure out. Vulnerability inside a relationship where both people are committed to each other's growth is not a liability. It is the only place real peace actually lives. You cannot find inner calm in isolation. The Stoics knew that, they just never put it on an Instagram quote. So what does healthy Stoic relationship philosophy actually look like in practice? 3 things the Stoics did that you can start today. 1. They made their friendship a daily practice, not a reaction. Seneca wrote to Lucilius almost every day, not because there was a crisis, because the relationship required maintenance. Text the person you keep meaning to text. Do it now, not later. 2. They held people to standards without withdrawing love. Marcus Aurelius corrected people directly and then moved on. No passive aggression, no grudge. The correction happened and then it was over. That kind of clarity is a gift to the people around you. 3. They studied friendship the same way they studied philosophy. This is not metaphorical. In ancient Rome, Cicero literally wrote a book on how to be a friend. And honestly, it reads like the clearest relationship manual ever written. It covers choosing the right people, how to handle disagreements, what loyalty actually requires. If you want to go deeper on exactly what the Stoics and their contemporaries believed about human connection, I genuinely recommend picking up How to Be a Friend by Cicero on Audible. The link is in the description. It is short, it is precise, and it will completely change how you think about the people in your life. That is the safe path, not detachment, not coldness, intentional, practiced, studied love. That is what the Stoics were actually doing. Here is what I want you to take away from this. The Stoics were not running from people. They were building the internal stability that made real relationships possible, because you cannot truly show up for someone else when you are constantly in chaos yourself. The peace you are looking for, the version of you that stays calm in conflict, that gives without burning out, that loves without losing yourself, that person is not built in isolation. They are built in relationship. Start with one, not perfectly, just intentionally. And if this gave you even one thing you did not have before, share it with one person who needs to hear it. That one action? That is Stoic friendship in real time. Drop in the comments, which of the 3 warnings hit you hardest? I read every single one, and I will see you in the next video. Disclaimer: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing constitutes professional advice of any kind.